Hello again, friend. Thanks for joining me on this last adventure of the season. More than anything else, I hope you've encountered yourself in a somewhat meaningful way. If that has happened for you, even one time, this will have been worth it. We'll be continuing with our practice of clarity this session. And as we've discussed several times before, when we settle down and really take a look at what comes up in our minds, we can find some things that are really uncomfortable or challenging. Things that can feel pretty shitty. But don't worry, because there's a lot of interesting smells in poop. It's the very same with those parts of ourselves that we find difficult. Oftentimes, when we're just out living our lives, we feel the friction that these stinky parts of ourselves cause for us. But the hope is that in the space of meditation, when we have cleared away all other tasks, reduced the amount of information we're pumping into our brain, and have taken a moment to let our nervous system settle, then we can, if we're lucky, approach these difficulties with a spirit of curiosity rather than tension. When we start to look at our thoughts in more detail, pieces of ourself become clearer. We may not always like what we see at first, and that is okay. Many of us harbor deep fears about who we are, about what others think of us. If people tell us over and over again that we look like a hideous gold-eating monster, in time we're likely to begin believing them. The stories other people tell about us can shape our own self-reflection, especially if we do not feel anchored and secure in our own sense of self. Almost every relationship we're in, every experience we have, tells another story about who we are. And some of these, especially ones from early in our lives, leave a tremendous imprint on how we think about ourselves. Over time, almost anyone who is repeatedly told that they are monstrous is likely to conclude that they belong behind bars. Look at the evidence. This is one of many reasons it is important to have a clear sense of self, to have a sense of awareness about what messages go on inside our minds and which ones we really believe. Meditation practices, like the clarity ones we've been doing together, are one way to practice this skill. But how do we do this? How does this work? Tasha Schumann of the Consciousness Explorers Club, who also happens to be a phenomenal music artist, offered two metaphors that really stuck with me. One is trying to get dirty water to settle. If you stir it, scoop it, or even strain it, it is very unlikely that you will actually get it clear. The best way to get muddy water to clear is to let it settle. Over time, the sediment will naturally fall, and you'll be able to see through the water perfectly fine. Another is the image of a snake that is tangled in a knot. The more that snake writhes and struggles, the more entangled it will become. But by relaxing and releasing, the snake can easily unwind itself and move freely again. This spirit of doing nothing, or healing through non-action, runs pretty contrary to most of our cultural sensibilities. It's perhaps not as gratifying as popping a pill, and it certainly isn't something someone can sell you. I'm also not suggesting that all problems can be solved this way. Certainly direct action and intervention are necessary at times. But I think that direct action is often stronger and more powerful when it is intentional and clearly thought out. And for many people, doing something about it is the only tool they've got in their belt. And it is not a tool very well suited to making peace with your insecurities. We need something else for that. All of this is to say, when we are practicing this skill of clarity, even when we find things that we don't like, thoughts that we don't agree with, or that feel out of place in our life, we don't need to chase them away. In fact, simply recognizing them as they occur is enough to change our relationship to them, even if it's in a small and subtle way. By growing more familiar with our insecurities, we learn to make peace with them, and they don't hold so much influence over us. We see them for what they are, just thoughts. Remnants of stories we have been told about ourselves. And And as we see ourselves and the patterns of these thoughts more clearly, we don't have to be so afraid of them. So let's give it the old college try. Let's take the cup off our gold and see what comes to gobble it up. So get settled in how you like. Maybe let out a heavy and let's begin. As we're settling into the practice, we can do so slowly and with ease. We don't have to drop immediately into some deep state. Not some grand separation between now and the moment before. You can allow your body to wiggle, to adjust, to sort of slide into this space of mindfulness. Just notice you're sitting, or standing up, or lying down. And we remember that there is no getting this wrong. There's no way to be you, to be in this shape, wrong. You can take a couple more deep breaths if that feels comfortable. Feeling the air circulate through your body. Feeling this gift of breath. And when you're ready, you can invite your attention to rest on the anchor that works for you. Maybe deep in the belly as it fills and empties out again. Maybe your hands resting on one another at your side. Maybe sounds around you, locating you in this space somewhere. We rest our attention here gently as an invitation. Of course, we will become distracted. Our attention will move on to something shinier, sexier, more interesting. That's perfectly okay. When you notice that your mind has wandered, this is a powerful, wonderful, magic moment. Just bring it back as gently as you can and begin again. If counting is supportive, you can introduce numbers. Releasing frustration or disappointment every time we just begin again. Nothing is lost. In fact, something really wonderful is gained. Just begin again. And if it feels good, you can begin to slowly widen your attention, making that anchor point a little bigger. Maybe starting to pay attention to feelings in the body, or sounds in the space. Just opening up a little bit. And if it feels good, you can go a little further, setting your attention free to move wherever it wants, while you stay a little on the outside, just observing where it goes. Your attention runs around or dances or bounces or sits very still. And you just sort of watch it. Like you might watch a playful puppy. Or you might watch people bustling through a train station. If it's supportive or you want to, you can begin to offer these notes, little names. Pain, warmth, frustration, self-criticism. After you name a thing, just keep watching it. Maybe it goes away or changes, gets bigger or smaller. You're not attached to any outcome with these names. They're just observation, just recognition. I see you. I welcome you. I notice boredom that you are here in my mind. If this feels too chaotic or confusing, you can always feel free to narrow in your attention back to that original anchor point. Just noticing sounds. Just keeping your attention on your breath. And as you find perhaps a bit more stability, balance, you can see if you want to open it up again. You can move back and forth between concentration and clarity as many times as you want or need. Feeling out a rhythm or a dance that feels good to you right now. No matter where your attention rests, on a single fixed anchor or on the open space of your mind and its activity, it's totally normal and natural and fine that you'll find yourself caught in it, becoming distracted. When this happens, you can invite a smile to your face, a bit of lightness. You have another opportunity to begin again. And you can do this beginning over and over. There's no limit. Every time you do it, strengthening this muscle, your concentration, your clarity, your confidence, your ability to be gentle with yourself, to be kind and understanding, to empathize with who you are right now. As we wrap up our time together today, you can stay in this space of open awareness, just watching thoughts as they arise and move and change and disappear. Or you can start to close your attention a little bit more, to narrow it back to that fixed home base. This steady, solid point of comfort. That was wonderful. No matter what your experience has been, I invite you to take a moment and appreciate that if you have been with this since the beginning, you have made a serious investment in learning how to be with yourself, which is such a tremendous thing. I hope that you find someone to give you head pets and belly rubs and remind you that you are so valuable, that you belong. And wherever the journey takes you from here, I am sure it will be adventurous, but I also know that you have what it takes. May you feel deep comfort. May you welcome joy as she shows up in your life. May you feel connected to your body and the world around you, and may you live with ease. I'll see you out there, adventurer.